As a prop master, one of the biggest complaints I hear is that coffee cups in movies and television always look like they're empty. And there's a lot of evidence to back that up. There are many films and TV shows where the actors are obviously holding empty coffee cups. And it's kind of become a thing. With the advent of YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, clips are everywhere, and then people start streaming shows over and over again, and then the little things don't really seem so little.
When somebody has a Starbucks coffee cup and they're doing this and talking, that is an empty cup.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, they're doing a fake sip right now. These actors didn't fool me.
And when people are walking around and talking with an empty cup, it's very easy to tell that that's an empty cup.
The actors will just be way more just doing this number and tipping and just...
And it's gotten to the point where people aren't just watching the clips. There are dozens of videos out there where people are doing skits making fun of the empty coffee cup.
Great job. You're a real go-getter, Johnson. With an initiative like that, you'll go far here at company name.
He was like, I don't need this surgery. Like, isn't like the heart like one of those organs like you like don't need?
I've always said you are a catch. Oh, stop. But hey, I hear you've been seeing someone too. I may be.
Now, I'm going to blow the lid off this thing and reach out to prop masters from all over North America to get them to spill the beans on the whole prop cup situation. And the first question I asked him was, have you ever been guilty of handing an actor an empty coffee cup?
Yes, I have. But it was very early on in my career when I didn't know how to prepare for a last-minute request for a coffee cup.
Yeah, once when I was young, I needed the money.
I'm an experienced prop master. I would never do that. Okay, that's not true. I have.
I've definitely accidentally or gotten caught up in everything and sent someone out with an empty coffee cup.
That has always been at the request of the actor. The last minute they go, I don't want anything in the cup. You remind them that you have an empty cup. Don't turn it sideways. Don't hold it upside down.
So all you have is something empty. You don't have water nearby. You don't have anything ready to go that you can put in that cup. So you just put an empty cup in an actor's hand. They're already rolling and you don't know what to do.
If after the first take, I see things going a little bit askew, I'll walk in and go, so that's not going to work. We have to put a little bit of something in here so that you're mindful of how you hold the cup.
But we always fix it. Always fix it.
I'm guilty of it as well. We all make mistakes, but there are certain things we try to do to ensure that the lead actor's cup stays full.
I always ask them in the morning what they would like before the scene. Would you like coffee? I can tell you that 99% of the time I push for water because it's just the safest.
At the beginning of a show, I'll talk to an actor or her about their favorite drinks. If an actor says, I'm really feeling coconut water these days, you always have a stash of coconut water. Always.
I always like to have multiples off camera, ready, completely filled to the correct lines. We can just pop in and hand off the correct one, whether or not they've been drinking from it.
Generally, you got your hot pot there with whatever the actor wants to drink. Usually it's not coffee because of the caffeine.
Because in the days of nobody says cut anymore, I'm always standing off to the side. I have the vessel of whatever they're drinking in their cup. And when they go to reset, I don't wait for them to say cut.
If it's an opaque cup, I also sometimes use the little water bottles, like the shorty ones, and you just stick them inside, has the correct weight, and it just needs to have that weight. Those are perfect for that, just to hide them inside of it.
That solution really holds water.
Usually actors don't drink that much during a scene anyway. They'll have a couple of sips between dialogue. I have rarely encountered a scene where an entire cup of coffee is drunk. In the event that it happens, you have 2 or 3 or more matching sets of that to-go coffee cup ready to go.
You get 3 cups lined up, you know where they go each time, and you fill it up and just change them out each shot. And you keep changing them out and start the take at the top with the same amount each time.
Having matching multiples close by is imperative because you don't want to make them wait because you had to add the weight. And then I asked him how you handle a bunch of extras that have to have prop coffee.
Usually it's water or Coca-Cola. Something I like to do something dark in the cup. Never fill it up more than half full. They'll spill it.
Kind of that relationship with the background to make sure that you're like, hey, we need to make sure this is full. Please come find us. We'll refill it. But sometimes that doesn't always work. And so we'll use the short water bottles. Sometimes they'll open it up and they'll drink that between the shots. It's good to stay hydrated, but still.
I always use water in the cups. It's just the easiest, the fastest, the most efficient. Even if somebody comes up and says, I'd like to have my Starbucks latte, macchiato, whatever. It's like, here's your water, go stand over there.
It's true. The prop department can get a little extra if the extra wants extra.
Also, I don't want an angry costumer to come up to me and go, So that big coffee stain on this key background performer that's walking behind the actors, that's a problem now because you put coffee in their cup.
So I've used like miniature little sandbags that you can get on Etsy and just put them in the cup so that it has that weight.
I like to use little snack-sized Ziploc bags, the really tiny ones, and you fill them with dry rice. They move around a little tiny bit, so it is pretty realistic when someone's walking by with it. Can't be spilled, it can't be drunk, it doesn't attract bugs, and they're reusable.
Now you're good to go.
And then you warn them. You say, hey man, I don't think these cups are very clean, so don't drink this. Just act like you're drinking. Because invariably, I will end up as a waiter filling extras coffee cups up all day long.
Those are some great tips, but the question still remains. Why does this happen so much?
Because it just falls under the radar. A lot of times there's a million other things going on, and remembering to put liquid or a weight in that coffee cup ends up being the last thing on the list, and sometimes it gets forgotten, or maybe the coffee cup gets added in because like, oh, we just need one more thing in their hands.
So you send the third out there with, you know, a stack of cups and briefcases and magazines and everything else, and they don't have time to do it all, and they don't think about doing it all. You know, you've got 20 people you've got to give stuff to.
It's really tough to get around and refill every cup. We have a department of license plates, briefcases, cell phones, newspapers, anything that's going on in the street scene. We don't have a department of coffee cups. And we will reset when we do a major turnaround or anything, but in the middle of the scene, the meat of the scene, it's really tough to get in there.
For the most part, we're all really aware of it. I think that it's one of those things that gets poked at enough that we all know. It's just sometimes it happens.
I don't think they happen that frequently anymore because it became sort of like a running joke about the empty coffee cup. So I think people are remembering that it's a thing and seeing it more often and thinking that it's more frequent than it is. But these days people figure out how to keep their coffee cups full and always be prepared.
We definitely focus on where the camera is and the people right around the camera, but usually when you have 4 or 5 cameras going in the edit, inevitably it's going to happen.
Murphy's Law, sure enough, the person with the empty cup will end up right in the foreground.
You know, you fill it up afterwards. Of course, it's the take they use, not the one where it's filled. What are you gonna do when it happens?
I think there are several things at play here. Back when the industry shifted from film to digital, producers soon realized that they didn't have to cut the camera as much. Previously with film, they were constantly reloading the camera, and that was our chance to get in there and refill the coffee cups. But with digital, they have the ability to do numerous takes without cutting the camera. And they just weren't prepared for that back then. And because there's very much so a time is money mentality, it's hard to get in there and do the resets that you need to do. And the next issue is temperature. You can't put scalding hot water in a cup. You could burn the actor. And people will tend to treat a hot cup of coffee a lot different than they will a cold cup of coffee. Through the years, I think we have gotten better about it, but it still happens, so I guess you still have grounds to roast us.
Okay, we've done like 6 takes of this.
So you're getting deja vu?
I need one more take.
Come on, Timmy, leave me alone.
He's getting pretty steep.
I'm just over here living the vida mocha. I got drip. Timmy, could you run and get me a cup of coffee?
There you go.
Glad they were empty.